That's a big ass fish. That's a monster, Mike. Good job.
And that's why we're obviously outdoorsmen. And good morning, my wood and water rats. Today is Thursday, January 27th, 2022. We're already almost through January already. This month has just flown on by. And if you guys have never a wood rat or a water rat, it's the same thing like a gym rat. If you're always in the gym, then you're a gym rat. And if you're always in the woods or on the water, then you're a wood or water rat. But today's topic, 5 things I wish I knew when I started hunting. This is a good one. And as you guys can know, when you guys started hunting, the learning curve can be up and down and up and down. And you learn a lot of things throughout the years. And no matter how long you hunt, you learn new things every single year. And these are just a couple of things that I wish I knew when I started hunting to shorten that learning curve and just be a better hunter from the rip. And if you guys don't know the blessing of having a warm coffee or a hot coffee on a cold morning, it's the blessing of the day right there. Today I'm drinking Black Rifle Coffee Gunship, and it's just getting me caffeinated and motivated. But on to today's topic, 5 things I wish I knew when I started hunting. Let's start with number 1. Guys, bad shots will happen, and I'm sure you guys know this already, but I used to beat myself up if I made a bad shot, and mentally it was like the worst thing. I'm talking like when I first started hunting, when I was like 12, 13 years old, and mentally wounding an animal, it was just horrible. But no matter how much people practice, you will always make a mistake eventually. I don't care if you've been perfect for 10, 20 years, someday a bad shot will come, and it's just the nature of the game. It's the animal's instinct. It's their natural instinct to avoid predators. So if they duck an arrow on the shot, or if they just, you hit a stick, you hit a branch, or if they wind you, it's their instinct. They're trying to stay alive. So the predator's trying to come in, and they're trying to elude you. That's just the nature of the game. And the shot just doesn't always line up, whether you get winded or you shoot high, you shoot low, but the bottom line is you made a bad shot. And if you guys just completely miss the animal, just know that that's more of a blessing than wounding the animal and never being able to find it and causing it unnecessary pain. All right, I'd rather miss a deer completely than wound it or hit it in the leg or hit it in the guts. It's just a better all-around thing if you just completely miss the animal. And the only way to remedy a bad shot is to practice. And in every situation, and I'm talking every situation you want to practice in, standing, kneeling, sitting, quick shots, close or long shots, all of the above. The more arrows you sling at targets, the better. It's just going to be second nature, and your form's just going to be on point. I don't care if it's 40 hours a day, 100 arrows a day, or even just 10 hours a day. Arrows, not hours. Arrows. It's just better off in the long run. And just as much as you can possibly do, it's only going to help you as a hunter. And I practice in every situation. Normally, I start farther when I'm practicing. So if I have the opportunity to shoot 40 yards where I shoot, then I start at 40. Because then if you start at 40, when you go down to 20, it's going to be a chip shot. It's going to be easy. If you start at 20 and then move back to 60, it's going to be normally harder on you to adjust to that. But I practice in all situations. I'll draw back and I'll hold the bow at full draw for as long as I can. And then I try and make the shot. Because I've had times where I'm holding the bow back for a minute, 2 minutes straight before I'm able to move and settle the pin. Whether you draw back when they're behind a tree and then they step out and you just don't have a shot, and they're just standing there and they're standing there for a minute or two before you could even release an arrow. And that's harder when you got 60, 70, 80 pound draw, and it's just hard on your body. So you have to learn how to hold all that, get accustomed to learning all that. And I'll do that. I'll shoot at my target from 5 yards away, no matter where I'm hunting. If my shot's gonna be at six to 10 yards, I practice from 6 to 10 yards, and then I'll probably back up to 20. But whatever my hunting situation is, I practice at it. My biggest buck I ever got, I named him Spartan, 144-inch 9-pointer. He was a 10, but he broke off his 1 point, and my shot was literally going to be between 5 and 10 yards, and I made like a makeshift stick blind, and I had a crate on the ground in the little stick blind, and I had to shoot him kneeling down. So I practiced from 6 to 10 yards, and I practiced kneeling at 6 yards. And when people saw me doing it, they were like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm practicing." And you don't know how many people I've asked, and I'm like, "Listen, it's gonna be a close shot. Do you know how to aim?" And they're like, "Honestly, no. I'm just gonna bury my pins all in the deer and just let it rip." And I want to know where I need to put my sight to be able to put the best shot I possibly can at any yardage. So at 5 yards, if I know I have to aim at the base of a deer, then I'm going to aim at the base of the deer to shoot them in the right spot. So you just gotta have to practice and get used to every situation. If you do a lot of deer drives, draw back, shoot as quick as you can. So if you draw back within a second, I want you to settle that pin and squeeze that trigger. Do everything quick, every motion. Hold it for as long as you can, or draw back quick. Close your eyes when you draw back, then open your eyes, try and find the target as quick as possible and let it rip. Just repetition is going to help you in the long run. And don't let a bad shot wreck you mentally. Lead that mistake to help you become a better than ever hunter for your confidence and out of respect for the animal, because if you guys cannot shoot bow and arrow effectively and properly, then you're not respecting the animal. It's all about just doing the right thing, making the most ethical shot. And if you guys have a bow or a gun that doesn't shoot straight, doesn't shoot on target, don't even take it out in the woods. Get it so you're shooting dimes and you can make a proper ethical shot. But number 2, get control of your nerves. One of my struggles when I started out alone was that when a deer came in, I forgot everything. And when I say when I started out alone, I was like probably 11, 12, 13 years old, probably right in that range. When I started out alone, I forgot everything. And I was shooting a compound bow that was 2 inches shorter than my draw length. I was shooting fingers. I was shooting aluminum arrows. And it was a learning curve for me. But when I switched from that kind of bow to shooting a release and a bow that fit me, I shot amazingly. But I was able to shoot pretty good, like within a 3-inch circle at 30 yards. It was shooting fingers with a bow that was too short for me, but it was shooting like 55 pounds when I was that young. So I was used to it because that's what I was taught with. And it was just my mind, when it was crunch time, I forgot everything. I didn't settle my pin. I didn't look through the peep. I vividly remember one of my first shots at a doe, at a deer in general, but it was a doe, and it was about 10 years ago, and I drew back, and when this doe came through, it came through like trotting, and I missed the deer because when I drew back, I didn't even look through my sight. This thing came in, and I was like, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. And this doe came in, and she was at like 15 yards, and I just vividly remember not looking through my peep sight. I don't even think I was looking through my sight in general. I just pointed my bow and arrow at the deer, and I shot. And immediately as I shoot, and I saw the arrow just sail nowhere near the deer. I missed the deer by 3 feet for obvious reasons. Immediately, I was just like, what the hell did I just do? All right, I practice for days on end and days on end. So many arrows going down range, and then I just threw it all out the window because I got a little excited. My adrenaline started pushing. It started rushing through me, and I just forgot everything. I blanked out. And you can practice all you want, but until you're put in that scenario with a live animal, you have to keep your nerves under control and do not just go into tunnel vision and forget all your training. Have a mental checklist and just talk to yourself if you need to. Control your breathing. Stay calm. Okay, stay calm. Draw back. Solid anchor point. All right, sink that kisser button in the corner of my mouth. Close one eye. Settle the pin behind the shoulder. squeeze the trigger, and then watch the arrow hit its mark through the bow sight. And it's just a whole bunch of stuff. Watch your arrow hit its mark through the bow sight so you don't drop your arm. Watch the deer until it's out of sight. All of this is just essential. Take your time and get control over your nerves. Just get it to a point to where you can stay calm and collected until the shot. And then once you know you made a perfect shot and the deer either goes down within sight or you mark mentally where the last place you saw it, that's when you freak out and you get your buck fever and you start getting all jittery, and it's just the best feeling in the world. Don't suppress it to where you just don't feel that, but keep it under control so you can make that ethical shot. Don't let it affect your shot and miss an animal or confine you from actually shooting because you are so shaky and jittery. And just get control over your nerves. I wish I could have done that a lot sooner. I'm good now. I could basically keep it in until after the shot and then I start freaking out. But a lot of people have the issue to where as soon as they see an animal, they start bugging out. So get control over that. Number 3, your best lessons come from your worst failures. And that's with life all around. But all my knowledge as a hunter and my best advice I could give has come from failures and mistakes. So like the last example of me not looking through my bow sight and missing a deer by 3 feet. Instantly, I acknowledged I screwed up, and I have to get that under control because I didn't want to make that mistake again. Whether it be failed stalks, bad shots, getting busted by the wind, all this stuff teaches you what not to do or what to look out for if you're faced it in the same situation again. That's the only way to be as knowledgeable as you can be. Make the mistakes, learn from them, and come out a better hunter. Right? Whether you're making a stalk on an animal and you step on the wrong twig, you step in the wrong spot, and the deer snaps its neck and looks dead at you and busts you. All right, you know next time to be more cautious, to look out for them sticks. And we're talking about stalks. I've had so many times where I'm trying to stalk an animal and I step on like a soda can out in the woods or an empty water bottle, and it's just like, and it's just loud as anything. And I'm like, God damn it. And it's just a lot of stuff. And I've had a lot of mistakes in my hunting career. I've missed a lot of shots, a lot of missed opportunities, failed stalks, failed hunts. And in the end of the day, yes, I'm probably mad in that time frame, but when I come out of that, I'm just like, okay, I can't do this again. And a lot of times I'm facing that same scenario again, and I do the right thing, or I do the right thing there, and then I mess up again later on in the hunt. And it's like, God, it's so hard to be perfect when hunting. Hunting's just one of those things to where every scenario is new. There's never really the same scenario every time. But it's nice when I got Rob into hunting and he had all these questions. I could tell him, like, listen, I have done this, and like a whole book full of just wrong things. I have done all this stuff wrong. Do not make this mistake. Try not to make this mistake. And he's like, okay, the wind's going this way. Should I hunt the stand or should I hunt the blind down a little bit? And I'm like, well, the wind's doing this and the deer have been consistently coming into that stand. Go hunt the stand. And then it's like, okay, should I bait? Should I rattle? Should I grunt? And I'm trying to teach him how to rattle, how to teach him how to grunt the right way. And it's just like a bunch of stuff that I've done wrong is why I know how to do them right. It's not because I know everything. It's because I have messed up in these situations. So that's just how you do it. And for you people that don't know Rob, he's kind of hard-headed. So when he was learning in the beginning with the bow and arrow, and I would always tell him, hey, listen, you're slapping that trigger. Don't drop that arm. Settle your pin. I don't care if you have to talk to yourself. Control your breathing. He'll be like, I know. And then he'd mess up and he'd be like, dude, I know I have to, but I'm a good shot with the gun. The bow is a little new for me. So I'm like, I know. And I have messed up a lot while hunting. Just listen to me. Just listen to me, you stubborn person. All right. And I would just tell him all these different things. And then he finally got, like, when he shot his first buck, he finally made like an amazing shot, 10 ringed him. And it clicked in his head to where he watched the arrow pass through behind the armpit and it was just there. And that just set everything in his mind to where he was like, wow, I actually did that. I settled my pin and it was just perfect. I got to do that every single time. The animal went down in 20 yards and it's just got to be like that to be an ethical hunter and do it the right way. And you just got to make your failures and come out the other side a better hunter. So number 4, the hunt isn't completed once you shoot an animal. All right, I wish I knew this in the beginning, because I thought it was just like, all right, we're working so hard to get the animal down, and that was it. But that's far from it. I always say after I shoot an animal, now the work starts. And there's a ton of work that goes into being in a situation to getting an opportunity at harvesting an animal and making your shot count once everything aligns. But once you have shot an animal, that's when the work starts, all right? You have to track them the right way, take your time, and find the animal first. Then once you find them, you gotta gut them. You gotta drag them out, hang it up, skin it out, quarter it, debone it, take off the silver skin, freezer wrap it, then clean up the whole mess, dispose of the carcass, and on and on and on and on and on. It's not a short process when you want to do it properly and the best as possible. It takes time and commitment, and you're going to have a lot of long nights after a harvest. All right, just be prepared for that. I mean, if you harvest an animal and let's say it's not like 20 degrees outside, you have to get on that animal and do it right away. Right? You have to start the process of deboning it and getting that meat in the freezer before it could possibly go bad. You want the meat in the best possible condition for you to eat it. And there's many nights where I shoot a deer at last light, and then it takes me like an hour to find it and gut it and drag them out. And then just driving home is another hour. And then I got to eat dinner. And then I got to skin it out and debone it and the whole thing. And then once I'm done with that, I got to freezer wrap it. And by the time I am done and I shower and I go to bed, I am exhausted. I'm like a zombie just limping around because my eyes and my hands hurt, but it's all worth it in the end. And a lot of people drop their deer off to a butcher because they don't have time, but I love doing it myself. I know how the deer is prepared. I know how every cut of meat was handled and where it came from, how it was properly freezer wrapped, and the whole thing. I just know how the meat was handled and where it came from. And I love doing everything myself. If I could do it myself, I'm not going to bring it to someone else to do it. Even if I really don't have time, I will make time for it because I took the initiative to go out there and harvest an animal. I want to be able to do everything myself. That's just me personally. If you guys don't have the time and you got to drop it off to someone, by all means do it. At least the animal doesn't go to waste and you will get the meat back. You just got to pay an extra little bit of money. But I like the whole process from the beginning to the end, from going out there and doing all the scouting myself, hanging the stands, hanging the cameras, finding deer on my own, and then practicing making the shot, and then being able to drag them out, quarter it, and just from beginning to the end, from field to freezer. I like doing it all myself, and if you guys want to do it all yourself, it is a long process, and just be prepared for it. And if you guys have never skinned an animal or quartered or deboned or de-silver skinned an animal, get some help for the first couple times and just learn how to be proficient at it and do it the right way. That way it doesn't take 3 hours to skin and quarter an animal. You should get that down to like 20 minutes, and then the deboning process starts, and that takes a lot longer than everything else. And Rob's got to get on that to where I've basically helped him every time so far, and I think if he went to go skin and quarter an animal, it would take him some time. And his first time he does it alone, he's going to be in for a long night just for trying to do it the right way and learning. So get a mentor to show you how to do it the right way, and you're going to be thankful in the end. Number 5, there's no bad weather. There's only bad clothing. So Rob heard this saying from some woman at work, and when he told me that, we were just like talking about it. We were like, God damn, she's right. For any situation there's clothing to suit it. Whether it's expensive or not is a different story, because if you want the right clothing a lot of the time, it's expensive, especially for the colder days. Like I'm talking like cold days. The clothing's expensive to be comfortable out there. But no matter the wind, snow, ice, rain, mud, there is clothing that you can be comfortable in, and it's a necessity. Being comfortable while hunting may allow you to sit just a little extra longer because you're not cold. It may just keep your scent under control on the longer hikes. And that may be all you need, just sitting a little bit longer, walking a little bit farther, keeping your scent under control because you're a sweat monster and you walk so far, and maybe it's a hotter day, all right? There's always clothing to suit every situation, but instead of freezing your ass off, buy the proper clothing, and not having the bone-chilling wind cut through you is just a blessing in itself. Just being out there and not shivering and just sitting stone cold still because you're comfortable and you're warm, it's amazing. And that may be the difference between capitalizing on a hunt and having a failed hunt. So just invest in the proper clothing from the get-go. Don't go out there with like shabby clothing and freeze and then having to spend extra money later on the right equipment because you didn't want to spend that money in the first place. So just from the beginning, get your insulated pants, your insulated jacket, the right socks, and the right gloves, the face mask, the hat. You just want to be comfortable and set yourself up for success. And don't go out there with not the right amount of clothing and end up leaving early because you're freezing. All right, you may leave. That's when the deer comes in, and you may have just missed an opportunity. But buy the gear one time so you don't regret it when you're out in the woods and your tree is shaking because you're shivering so hard. Don't be that guy. And I said only 5 tips or 5 things that I wish I knew when I started hunting, but I'm going to throw in a 6th, and this ties into number 5. Proper fitting shoes are a must. I didn't realize how much I took proper fitting shoes for granted. If your feet hurt when you're out hunting, you guys know how limiting that can be. Instead of creeping that extra mile, you may just say screw it because your foot has been crammed in a boot that was a size too small, or because your feet have been swimming in a size too big for like 8 hours on your hunt. And the hunts where you have to walk far, like turkey hunting and like running and gunning, when you got to walk that far up hills and weird situations, and then God forbid you have to cross a creek and your foot gets wet and you don't have the right boots on, it is the worst, and it is one of the most like limiting things to a hunt that I could possibly think of. There's so many times where I'm out there and like my big toe is just crammed and I'm like, oh God, I can't even walk anymore. Or like the back of my heel is just like chafing so bad because I got a boot that's too big or worn out. And especially for me with shed hunting, I go through like a pair of muck boots a year because I do so much walking. And when I'm wearing a boot that is too big or too small or just uncomfortable, right, it limits me from like being able to walk 10, 12 hours in a day to being only able to walk like 3 hours because my feet hurt so bad. You make sure you get proper fitting shoes and proper fitting boots, and you have no idea how much farther you can walk more comfortably and how much more quieter you can be. Because when your foot hurts, you're not really focused on being quiet because your feet are killing you. And when you're comfortable and it's like you're wearing nothing on your feet, when it feels that way, you're able to move around like a cat, all right? It's just a lot easier to move around like that when you're not in pain and you're comfortable in the woods. It's just how it is. You're more limber, and just get proper fitting shoes and you will thank yourself later. But that is wrapping up this podcast. All right, I am Mike. We're obviously Outdoorsmen. This is the podcast, Obviously Outdoorsmen. If you guys want to check us out on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, wherever it may be, you can check us out. Obviously Outdoorsmen. This is the podcast, and this is the First Light Talk series. This is number 21 already. All right, 21 days in a row I have done these First Light Talks, and it's meant for the people that are waking up early, getting after it, and just heading to your hunting stand, heading to your fishing spot, working out, going to work. If you guys want to learn something new from the First Light Talk series, I'm up here every morning making these podcasts out for you, trying to help you guys out, becoming a better hunter, becoming a better fisherman. And if you guys can, for me, just leave some comments down below. If you like this video, if you like this podcast, tell me what you like, didn't like, and why. And if you guys can check us out on Instagram, YouTube, or just share this video with anyone, you could share it with your mother, and I'd be happy. Just get it out there. If you have someone that's new to hunting, please send them to this channel. I love helping out new hunters and just giving them tips and tactics, basically giving them a handbook to succeed out in the wild. All right, I love doing that for people. It's one of the most fulfilling things when I am able to give someone tips and then they take these tips and make it successful and then come back to me and they tell me their successes. All right, it gives me like a head high to where I was like, I'm glad I was able to help this man or woman out, and I turned maybe what could be an unsuccessful hunt or fishing trip or shed hunting outing into a successful one. So if you guys are new to this channel, please subscribe, please follow, please turn on the little bell and just get notified whenever we post. And again, these First Light Talk podcasts will be out every single morning between 6 and 8 a.m. depending on the day. My schedule changes from day-to-day basis, but I try and get it out every single day. And if you guys are waiting for these videos to drop on YouTube, the audio format, whether it be Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, no matter where it may be, they're normally always out between 6 and 8 a.m. every single morning. The video version sometimes takes a little bit longer to edit, so the video version will be out at some point during the day, but the audio version will always be out between 6 and 8 a.m. every single morning. So thank you guys for sticking with me, and I am seeing everyone's comments on these videos, and I love the feedback that people have been giving me so far, and I am loving that you guys are loving these First Light Talks. I'm doing them for you, and just keep leaving the feedback, keep interacting, and just let me know, guys, what you thought of this video, and I greatly appreciate it. And again, I am Mike with the Obviously Outdoorsman podcast, and this is First Light Talk number 21. Stay tuned for tomorrow's FLT number 22. Have a great day and get after it. All right, I'm Mike. Peace, guys.